Hi lovelies and welcome back to another TikTok video. If you're new here, my name is Belinda Stronad and here is Ballistic Gist. Don't forget to please subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications so that anytime I upload videos, you will be the first person to be notified. And to my returning subscribers, thank you so much for all the love and support. To those people that share my videos, you guys are the real MVP. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Alright lovelies, let's get into the video. So guys, I came across this video on my For You page on TikTok and I thought to share with you guys where this O.Nist is actually against Judaism. Like, do you know that Zionist and Judaism are actually different and they are actually fighting each other? Guys, I was just able to put up the stitch as well as other stitches, claiming these facts because in Israel there is a lot going on in Israel that we don't even have an idea. Guys, I'm just gonna roll the clip. Please leave me your own thought in the comment section of what you think of this video, and do not forget that this channel does not support any form of harassment, bullying, or whatsoever. We are just here for educational purposes, guys. We are just here to learn. So guys, leave your own thoughts in the comment section. Subscribe if not done that, turn notification bell, and let's get into the video.
Over the last month, you may have seen this video resurfacing.
Zionism is a political philosophy which has brought about the state of Israel, the so-called state of Israel. Political philosophy has nothing to do with religion. On the contrary, it seeks to confuse others and let them think that Zionism and Judaism is one and the same. I know that the first Jews in the world were Africans. Not only do I know this, but I inform everyone who has doubts about it to read a book by Sigmund Freud entitled Moses and Monotheism as a beginning. Consequently, I know that Judaism and Zionism are not the same. Zionism had its first organizational expressions in 1897 in Basel, Switzerland, in Europe. Here was a man by the name of Theodor Herzl, H-E-R-Z-L. He was the founder of Zionism. He said that he was going to find the state that God promised the Jews. Listen to this very carefully. This man, Herzl, was an atheist. He believed that there was no God. He said God did not exist. Now, how is it the man who believes that God does not exist is going to find a state that God promised to his chosen people? Zionism is a satanic movement. It is devil. It is imperialism. It is racist. It has gone and taken the lands of the Palestinian people and through terrorism has driven them out. And through terrorism, it maintains its power. And the United States of America, with over 6 million homeless, sends to Israel billions and billions and billions of dollars everywhere to bomb Palestinian people while homeless people are here and unemployed are here.
That is Kwame Ture, originally Stokely Carmichael, who is a huge African-American political activist for the civil rights movement as well as the Pan-African movement. He was just one of the activists who was super adamant about not conflating anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism. I did my research and there's a few things we need to know about the history of Zionism to understand how it evolved today. The founder of Zionism he was talking about in that video is Theodor Herzl. He's not the first person who came up with Zionism, but he is the first to turn it into a nationalist political movement. Born in Hungary in 1860, he was a secular Jewish playwright and journalist. Some people call him atheist, like you saw in the video, because he did not have a Hebrew education, he didn't speak Hebrew or Yiddish, none of that. What you need to know is that this time there was a term being thrown around called the Jewish question or the Jewish problem. Essentially, all the prosecution against Jews throughout the history of Europe can be summed up by the idea that they thought they were the stumbling block to the identity and cohesion of the nations in Europe and enemies within their own country. Now, at this time, there were French Jews, German Jews, British Jews, Jews all around Europe, right? It's said that in 1894, the Dreyfus Affair is what inspired Theodor Herzl to write Der Judenstaat, which means the Jewish state. Quickly, the Dreyfus Affair was when a French officer of Jewish descent was accused of treason and espionage and sentenced to life in prison, but then later proven innocent. People say watching him get hated on like that just because he was of Jewish descent is what inspired Herzl to come up with this Jewish state as a solution to the Jewish question. They say this book is the birth of political Zionism. In it, he wrote, "No nation on earth has endured such struggles and sufferings as we have. Palestine is our unforgettable historic homeland." He believed the creation of a Jewish state would extinguish anti-Semitism, while other thinkers at the time like Ze'ev Jabotinsky saw Zionism as a self-defense against anti-Semitism rather than a cure for it. It gives him the power to organize the first Zionist Congress in 1897 in Basel, Switzerland, as again he said in the video. And this brings people together for the first time looking into creating a Jewish state, okay? Most of these people were secular, by the way. But they weren't always fixed on Palestine. It was their first option because of Judea, but their second option was Argentina, and their third option, offered by the British in 1903, of course, was Uganda. Actually, a lot of people weren't excited about this idea. They were split on it. How can you ask French, German people, etc. to be loyal to two countries? How can you gather Jewish people from around the world in the diaspora where they've created a life and a home for themselves and gather them somewhere where their ancestors lived over 2,000 years ago? I also want to note that he wrote some very agreeable things in his diary. Stuff like, it goes without saying that we shall respectfully tolerate persons of other faiths and protect their property, their honor, and their freedom with the harshest means of coercion. This is another area in which we shall set the entire world a wonderful example. Should there be many such immovable owners in individual areas who would not sell their property to us, we shall simply leave them there and develop our commerce in the direction of other areas which belong to us. We shall respectfully tolerate persons of other faiths. We shall set the entire world a wonderful example. And in a book he wrote later on, he wrote, it would be immoral if we would exclude anyone, whatever his origin, his descent, or his religion, from participating in our achievements. Our motto must therefore be, now and ever, man, you are my brother. First they had to be given a land, and that's where they came up with the phrase, a land without a people for a people without a land. Except all census data dating back centuries will always tell you this was never a land without a people. This is where you see a fundamental misunderstanding in early Zionist political discourse, pretending that Palestinians exist only as individuals or sometimes communities, but never as constituting a people or a nation. This was accompanied by typical arrogance and condensation towards the natives seen in virtually every settler colonial movement. Being from Europe, they were heavily inspired by other settler colonial ideologies. That is the history. Go to part 2 for an excellent synthesis on what Zionism means today.
Jewish people are believers in God. When God sent us in exile, we're staying in exile. He was warning us not to go out of exile before the coming of Messiah.
Is this a mainstream belief?
Yes. And he was warning us with 3 oaths. Now, going out of exile is a rebellion against Almighty. It's simple. Like if you have a child, he's bad. You told him, stand in the corner for 10 minutes. He coming out. What means that?
He's rebellious.
Couldn't care less about you, about your punishment. I do whatever I want. The same thing. If God sent us in exile, we're going out, means rebellion against God. Believers in God cannot do such a thing. We know it's very comfortable to have your own country, but we are believers in God and we accept everything what God do. The Zionist people are atheists, so they say how long we will stay in exile. Why? There's no reason for that. They don't believe that God exiled them. We have to organize ourselves. We have to take the land over.
Yes.
So it's very simple that you can understand that Zionism is built up on atheism, of mistrusting God, not trusting God. Judaism is built up of trusting in God. Anyway, he runs with that. Yes, we believe in God every day. Our mind is very, very small. God's mind is very big. There is no end to that. Everything what God do, even the Holocaust, it was for us. It was a big operation. We don't know why. We don't know what the outcome of that is. However, God knows. We are total believers, 100% on anyway. However, the Zionists are not believers. So they want to take the state. So you ask me, why? What's the difference between Jews and Zionists? Zionism is the total opposition from Judaism, diametrically opposed of Judaism. Judaism is believing in God, and Zionism is mistrusting God. Zionism is against all the religions, against God, against everything. They don't believe in God, that's all. So this is very, very in the root, what we are separate from Zionism. And this, even the Zionists doing the land in a free land, doubles and triples the crime when they're doing that on the head of other people, taking away the land of other people by killing them, by robbing away the land of them. This of course makes the crime double and triple. In the Torah it's written, in the 10 Commandments, don't kill, don't steal. So this is really the difference between Zionism and Judaism. As a Jewish rabbi, I find it very important to come to the Al-Quds March, what is going on every year. Zionism is a rebellion against the Almighty, who sent Jewish people in exile to stay in exile, not to rebel against the nations, not to take over the Holy Land by force. Zionism is against every aspect of humanity, where they're robbing away and they kill so many Palestinians, and constantly up to today's day, every day are Palestinians killed for nothing. They're robbing away the land from them. This wrong should be rectified. We're not supporting a two-state solution at all. If somebody takes over, robber away someone else's house and then come out, oh, I'm looking for peace, I want to make the house half and half. I mean, what's peace in that? First thing is, if you want peace, give back the house. And the same thing here, from the river to the sea, should go back for the Palestinians in full. And then we can live in peace, Jews, Muslims, all other people together. The Zionists say they have to protect Jews from anti-Semitism, not to be another Holocaust. The truth is exactly the opposite. Zionism is only raising anti-Semitism in the world today. They endanger Jewish people all over the world. The only way to bring peace over the world is that the state of Israel should come to an end, and a peaceful end. Nobody looks for bloodshed. We hope and we pray to God to be soon in our days, and then we can live in Palestine together with the Palestinians like we lived for centuries together, and like we live in all the Muslim countries together in peace.
אני לא ציוני, אני יהודי, לא ציון, יהוד, אני יהוד, לא ציון, אני רוצה להיות יהודי כמו פעם, כמו לפני 150 שנה, שחיו פה בשלום בשמחה, שכל הפלסטינים יחזרו לפה, כולם יחזרו לכל המקומות, לתל אביב, הכל שייך לכם.
It is not the difference of religions which is causing this conflict. The state of Israel does not represent all Jews, and certainly does not represent the Jewish religion. According to Jewish religion, all of this is criminal. All of this is forbidden. Basics of Jewish belief teaches that Jews are in a divinely decreed exile. We are even forbidden to create a sovereignty for ourselves. But especially when this is by killing, stealing, oppressing an entire people. This is not only criminal according to international law. This is a true violation of Judaism. And still, those people who choose not to follow Judaism misuse that very same religion to justify all those crimes forbidden in Judaism. The root cause is this criminal occupation which is oppressing an entire people. We have to end this occupation in its entirety. If people will ask me my advice, the leaders of Israel should wake up tomorrow morning and step out of the Knesset and return the land back to the indigenous population. I guarantee peace.
So lovelies, black people happens to be the true Israelites. As in the first Israel people that ever existed was actually black people. And because of the, what happens in the past when the European people actually came to Israel and, enslaved most people after colonization, they, sold out so many slaves and they inherited, that land. And like a lot of people are just coming up with stories about how the original owners of the land happens to be Palestinian, how the original owners of the land happens to be the Israel people. Now I'm hearing that the Israel people were, the owners of those land before the God cast them out. They went to Europe, and where this Zionist movement was introduced by the man that was just mentioned in the video, then he decided to start up this movement that will make the Israel people to actually go back to their forefathers' land, which happens to be the Israel. But before then, the Palestinian people is already occupying these lands. So with all these explanations, like it's like Palestinians are the original owners of this land that has been bringing problems and conflict with these people. And another thing I want to also understand is that the black people, they were the Israel people. That's the first Israel people, which happens to be the black people. I think though the way I was seeing it online and the way I read it also is like they were enslaved by these colonized European people, and they were sold out into slavery, and that is when the Israel that we know today occupied this land, and they began to have their children bonds and all of that. So who actually owned this land? Like, this is just all confusing in all ramification. It is all confusing. Like, who actually owns this land? A lot of people is saying that this land is owned by the Jews, and a lot of people say it's owned by the Palestinians. So the Jewish people is also different from the Jews. The Jews relationship or the Jews religion is different from the Zionist religion. Like, the Zionists do not believe in God, while the Jews, like, there is a lot to unpack here, guys. If you know more, because I am also learning, I am also trying to find out what is actually going on, what is all this, and how about this conflict and how to stop it and all of that. Please just leave me your own thought in the comment section of what you think, and do not forget that this channel does not support any form of violence. We are just here for educational and informative purposes, guys. Just leave me your own thought in the comment section if you have any more information or any more idea, because I want to learn. Like, there is no one that is above learning. I am just here to also learn. So Leave that thought in the comment section, and do not forget that this channel does not support any form of violence. Like I said earlier on, we are just here to learn. Please, if you've not subscribed up to this extent, subscribe to your girl's channel, turn notification bell so that anytime I upload videos, you'll be the first person to be notified. And I will see lovelies when I upload my next video.